So right away, we got like 0 subscribes into the AI request form compared to the next break when we switched to the quiz. We got over 7 leads in 5 minutes.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to Interact's Grow podcast. So great to be with you. As always, I'm your host, Jessmyn Solana. Thank you for being with us today. And we have everyone on board for this episode. Guys, welcome. I know we're all tired this week, but thanks for coming on anyway.
Good to be back, even though our trip last week really, I feel like, tired me out more than anything else, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, we did just come back from an offsite, and I feel like every time we come back from an offsite, I feel more tired coming back. I don't know why. I guess it's just the travel.
Yeah.
I got sick from it, you guys. So my
that
body.
low immune system. So today we're thinking about sort of what topic to come up with and talk about with you all who are listening. And we realized we actually haven't been able to recap the Travel Bloggers Conference that we went to a couple weeks ago in Nashville. It was super fun. Shout out to Mike and Laura for hosting and putting on such a great conference. If you guys listened to our episode with Ron from Unearth the Voyage, we kind of like dived in a little bit into, the travel industry. And I'm sure you might have heard our episode on what quiz you should make for your travel business. So this will kind of tie a little bit into the travel sort of industry, but more so in what to do when you're at a conference. So this works whether you are hosting a table, you're going there as a vendor, or you are speaking at the conference, and also if you're just attending to network and learn about your industry. Mm-hmm. So let's start off with the quiz that we created for the conference. It was super simple. We made it really specific to travel bloggers, I should say, not necessarily travelers, but travel bloggers in which quiz should you make for your travel business. And this was a quiz created based off of a different quiz that Jackie had created previously. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Jackie? And then we could go into the questions and the strategy behind the travel one.
Yeah, so we created a quiz for the conference that we thought would be used as a takeaway. So a lot of times at these events, people will send out the replays or there's like a virtual component. And in the Nashville Travel Summit, that was the case. People were able to access replays. Also, people were attending virtually. And for me, especially when I get these like recap, I'm thinking of HubSpot inbound, right? How many sessions were there that I was asked to rewatch or replay or just have access to? And so the idea for the conference quiz was take this quiz and figure out which sessions you should prioritize in rewatching. And they were sort of based on different components that these travel bloggers would have, which we used AI to pull off of the main event website. So that didn't work out. But we're talking with Laura in a couple of weeks, so that's exciting. Maybe this will come back. Still a test that we want to play with. But we had to just adjust what that quiz looked like so that we could use it, interact in that sort of giveaway bundle at the end, plus also just to have access to at the conference. So I forget, I think the original quiz was called like, what's your travel blogging superpower? And for us, that just didn't feel like, I don't know, the right quiz to be giving people as Interact, right? Like Interact's giving these travel bloggers a quiz. We didn't really want to speak to their blogging superpower. That's something that they would get from the conference itself, right? So we changed the quiz into which type of quiz should you make for your travel business, and then just sort of adjusted the results. So instead of being somebody who was focused on promoting different destinations within their travel blog, that was the exact quiz that they should create. So there were 3 outcomes. Oh gosh, putting me on the spot.
I got you. It was destination quiz, product recommendation quiz, and coaching if you were like a coach for travel bloggers.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the quiz. And it just told people, okay, based on your business, your blog, what it is that you're talking about in this travel content, this would be the type of quiz that would align the most with your business.
Yeah, loved it. It was great. It was also only 5 questions long, so we kept it really short and simple, and we created it using AI. But with that, we already had the results in mind when we put it through the AI, which helped a lot because we didn't want AI to create something new. We were like, well, we know what we want people to do. We just need the questions to go in there, and then we adjust it as needed.
Mm-hmm. And just like a little call out again to anybody submitting the AI quiz request form. It's really, really impactful when you sort of guide where you want AI to focus or where you want your quiz to be focused on, because that quiz, which type of quiz should you make for your travel business, had we just given that to AI to make something up, we could have gotten all kinds of different results, right? Like personality versus scored versus assessment, because that's what's on our website, is probably what it would have pulled. But we knew who we were talking to and why and what we wanted them to do with the quiz. So we were able to guide AI to say, okay, these are the types of people that are going to be taking the quiz, put them into one of these 3 categories or quiz outcomes.
Yes, love that. Thanks for calling that out, because I think as we create these quizzes, it's really hard if we just get, not that it's hard, it's just we want to create quizzes that matter, right? We want to create quizzes that people love. So if we have more information, it's much more helpful. Okay, so let's hold that thought, because that was the quiz that we created. Let's dive a little bit into the conference itself. Sort of, I guess, we were there. Anyone want to give background? I don't want to be the only one talking.
Well, I was just going to jump in and say, like, I love the idea of having the quiz as kind of like the opt-in / freebie thing for the digital group, like the online group of the summit. And I don't think that's new. I think we've seen people, like, even in previous years, like when there's online summits, they always, not always, but they do tend to use quizzes. But I know you guys did something very different, and probably Interact's first time doing this and attending a conference. And I think that's super exciting. I would love to hear what you guys did at the live portion of the conference.
Yes. So I don't know that we've ever sponsored a live conference. We've definitely done virtual ones, and great calling that out, because we actually realized something while we were there. So let's hold on to that thought of virtual versus live. When we got there, we had a table. And the idea originally was, okay, let's get people to sign up for an AI quiz so we could create the quiz on site, have people, I think we were going to have all of us working, like Damaris, Jesy, Mia, and just like all hands on deck, because we're thinking a flood of people are going to fill out this form. They're going to want a quiz as quickly as possible. Get ready to make 600 quizzes, I think was what we had said. So we were there to sponsor a table. The CTA for us was, okay, sign up for an AI quiz. We get there. We have a ton of people coming up to the table, but there's only 2 of us. We can only talk to like one person at a time. I think that was my first sort of recognition that people really wanted that one-on-one, talk to me about me and my business, even though they all had a similar vertical. They wanted that one-on-one time. And then as soon as we were like, okay, cool, like fill out an AI quiz, it was, not only having to sort of introduce the idea of what we do, but also help them walk through the AI form. And then because they create an account after filling out that form, there was also this waiting period of, are they going to check their email? They're super busy right now at a live conference, meeting all these people, listening to all these speakers. Like, will they actually have time to do so?
And I just want to call out to the tech hiccup that we had. And it's not really a hiccup. Like in that AI form, we require you to verify your email in order to create your account so that we can reduce spam. Because that's something that happened to us last year. That's why we had to change up our free accounts. We were inundated with spam submissions. And like 4 people on this call, plus a couple extra people on Interact, are actually doing the work of building these quizzes right now. And so yes, we had all hands on deck, and we prepared Damaris and Jesy of like, hey guys, give up your weekends for this, please, because like it's going to get slammed. But at the same time, people, like Jess was saying, they didn't have enough time to go into their inbox in that 15-minute break after we just talked to them for 8 to 10 minutes about their business and the quiz, they weren't going in to actually verify. So as many signups as we watched people fill out that form, we got no emails from it because nobody was actually going in to verify their account. And by the time they were ready to do that, after a whole weekend of conferences, their inbox was so flooded that we were all the way at the bottom. They had no idea what that verification was for. They didn't remember. So we really got no leads from that at all. Great conversation, but no actual action items, no quizzes for Damaris and Jessy to work on, which was great for their weekends, right? But
Yeah, I was going to say though, like the idea of showing up to a conference and that you were going to offer people the right quiz for their business built on the spot, like, you know, in their account within an hour, like that's awesome. That's like crazy cool that we would be able to do that. But it was really smart on your guys' end to realize that that wasn't exactly what was going to work right then and there. And you guys pivoted and found something that was going to work almost seamlessly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And before we dive into that, I think another big takeaway was, and we hear this all the time with our customers online, is great. This is the quiz. What do I do with it now? And so we were so quick to make them a quiz and get that into their hands so they could see what it would look like in their business, that there wasn't enough explanation or conversation around why you want to use the quiz, how you're implementing the quiz in your business, the different strategies behind using a quiz. So, drum roll, Jess, if you want to tell them
Drum
what
roll.
we do.
It's funny because I remember, I'm like replaying it in my mind right now because me and Jackie had totally separate conversations with different people. And as soon as because we were talking to people during breaks in between speakers. So as soon as another speaker went up, everybody went back to listen. We looked at each other and we were both like, I'm struggling. I'm struggling getting people to actually like sign up for an AI quiz. And we literally like super quickly decided, let's pivot and use the quiz, which travel quiz should you make for your business, as our CTA. And we kind of went back to our roots, I like to say, is, you know, we market our product as a lead generator. And here we are at a conference where people are learning about their businesses, how to scale, how to really grow. And they don't have quizzes yet. So we should use our own quiz as a lead gen. So we went through a few more tech hiccups on trying to change the QR codes that we had. And luckily we brought enough like laptops and iPads to just host the quiz up for people to just grab and take while they were there. So on the next break, what ended up happening was when people came to the table, instead of, you know, talking to them about AI and quizzes, we explained that we help create the quiz using AI. But if they want more information and they want to learn about it later that week after the conference, take our quiz, sign up for our email list, and we'll reach out personally to let them know, you know, sort of next steps, what they could do with the quiz, how it benefits them in their business, what it could look like based off of the result that they got. So whether it was a destination quiz, a product recommendation quiz, or a coaching quiz.
Mm-hmm. And I think that also allowed, awesome that that's our product, because it also allowed people to see what the quiz actually looked like, how it actually worked, as opposed to just saying, you create a quiz based on a question that people want to know, right? You put it on your website, people take it, they subscribe. They were actually clicking in, taking the quiz, answering the questions, subscribing on the opt-in form, and seeing their result. So then when you told them what type of quiz they were taking, they could actually see, oh, this is exactly what it would look like on my site. I would just have to change this quiz topic into my own destination recommendation coaching quiz.
So I kind of want to call out here specifically people who are sponsoring an event, if they were to do something similar with their own product or with a quiz, or using a quiz to kind of demonstrate what they do as a business, like their products or services, is this was a way for us to, in the moment, talk to them about their result. And for us, it was more of like a demo plus talking about their result because it was our own product. But we were able to kind of show them like, this is exactly what it would look like for you. This is what you can do with the quiz. And this is where you can put it up on your website. Once they get that result, then we have like recommendations of, okay, well, if you got destination quiz, what type of destinations do you do you actually talk about on your blog? So it was a conversation starter in the moment. So that way people could start ideating like, oh, if I were to implement a quiz, I know I'm specifically talk about, cruise ships. I specifically talk about, I don't know, Europe. I specifically talk about hiking and so on. And so this was a way for us to get them thinking about our product or service so that when they do get an email from us at the end of the conference, they're going to remember, oh yeah, the result that I got was destination. And this is what we had talked about, what type of quiz I could create. And now I'm ready to kind of start looking into growing my email list and using my quiz as a lead generator.
I love that. And I love that although ours was more of like a demo / also everything else for our quiz, I could totally picture having like a fun personality quiz on iPads at a table and people being drawn to them like, ooh, I want to know what type of like quirky baker I am or something like that, And I think, and for if you're collecting those leads, you're also segmenting them just like for us. Now we know if these people are coaching, if they're, like promoting products and everything, but I could totally see like a fun like personality quiz working for this as well.
I mean, think about the people that even go to like markets, like night markets or flea markets or farmers markets, right? And you have your own, essential oil line or your own skincare line that you're starting up, and you had like an iPad of a quiz of what you should purchase. If people don't purchase right then and there at the table, they can now sign up for your email list and purchase from you online, or you could send them sort of, what market I'm going to go to next. What are the next dates that I'm going to be there? So when that person goes back to that market, they're going to find your booth and purchase from you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's also, it prompts for such a better conversation because in the beginning, when like people first started coming into the travel summit, you could tell them, okay, this is no disrespect, but I just mean like, you could see people coming in and like sort of side eyeing us of like, please stuck in the sponsor booth table section just because like they don't want to be sold to, and that really wasn't our purpose of being there, although it kind of was, right? Like interact benefits by customers signing up, so obviously we wanted that to happen. But when we didn't talk about like purchasing the product and we instead focused on their business and what they were worried about and what they wanted to do, it made for such an incredible conversation. We made so many friends with these people. So many more people started coming over to the table because they knew we weren't actively trying to pitch them on anything. And then like Jess was saying, if they're not ready to buy right now, and I'm like, I love this example of farmers markets and like soaps that you can buy or essential oils, whatever, foods, whatever. You're not focusing on the conversation of buy my stuff now. It's just talking about like what it is that they actually need. Maybe you get some really great ideas for future products, but you at least have their email to nurture them, to continue to remind them, to have that conversation, even though they're not going to be in your face in real life forever, or for a very long, or for any time period of time.
Right. Exactly. I want to move on a little bit to the numbers. Jackie, do you still have it written down? I know okay, good. I was like, she might have her paper. We talked about this last week, but let's talk a little bit about the numbers, because we're here saying like, this is great, perfect conversation starter. Yes. But what did we actually get from the conference?
So right away, we got like 0 subscribes into the AI request form, compared to the next break when we switched to the quiz. We got over 7 leads in 5 minutes. So like in the first 5 minutes that I checked, we had already had 7 leads. So that's like a 700% increase in terms of emails collected simply by changing that CTA. Now, had we measured this over, I mean, I guess it would be, there's really no metric because not anybody submitted through that AI quiz request form. So that was like tenfold. I think we got, actually, I know we got, because I have it here, 39-ish people taking that quiz in person at the conference. So we got 39 leads as opposed to 0 that were coming in through the AI request form.
And there was about 100 people total live at the conference. So that's like a 39% conversion rate right there.
Correct. And that doesn't include the people that we sort of missed out on because they were submitting through that AI quiz request form first, thinking that they had subscribed and were in touch, but we lost those emails because they never verified themselves in the process.
Yeah.
Based on these numbers, I do have a question. Was there anyone that came up to you guys at the booth that said that they wouldn't like to take the quiz? Just out of curiosity.
I don't think
Guys, there was one guy who said he would come back because they just wanted to make sure they got to their seats for the next session.
Mhm.
So I guess time constraint wise, there were probably a few people that, or maybe they were waiting at the table, but there was only two of us, me and Jess, and at the conference that
Mhm.
did our best to include everybody in the conversation that we would have. But if the quiz wasn't like readily available, if somebody was on the tablet or on the computer, then we did see a couple people walk away. But it wasn't that they didn't want to take the quiz; it was that they just didn't have time to stand there and wait to
Right.
get in there.
Right. So this actually is a good segue into what I wanted to start covering next of, if you're attending a conference or networking, if you are speaking or if you are sponsoring at a table, what I wish we had done was have a huge QR code on our banner of this quiz, because QR codes is just, you immediately are like, cool, what's that? You pull out your phone and then you open the page on your phone, and then the quiz could have popped up right there. But for example, in our case at this conference, all of our QR codes were specific to the AI form, and we couldn't change it anymore. All we had were those 4 tablets, or well, 2 tablets and 2 laptops. So it was really hard to get people who weren't coming up to the table to talk to us to get a chance to take the quiz, because they had no access to it besides that.
I mean, that's very interesting because even though that was a challenge, a very big challenge, you guys still converted 39% of the people that attended the live event. So, and just to even expand on that, just for those listening out there, like, I know like 39 probably doesn't sound like a lot of people, but you have to look at it in terms of like how many people were actually physically there in the audience. And out of those people, they were able to capture 39%, 39% of 39 people. So that's a really, really good conversion rate. And just to even add on to that, maybe we'll talk about this later, but we did see a spike of AI submitted requests on the travel industry. So I don't know if you guys are going to talk about that later. Maybe I ruined it, but
No, you're good. You're good, because
that's like a really big deal.
I think something that like I realized in terms of conferences, whether you're trying to market your business, you're like a huge corporate company or a solopreneur, is it's a long game. These are people that are, super top of funnel. Like in the world of the internet, these would be people who are your target market but haven't found you yet.
Yeah. And
So it's like a long game.
when I picture conferences, and I actually have not been to one, like hosting one, but I just think that most people that do attend conferences are there to learn, are there to network, are there to find out like what will benefit them and in whatever stage they're in, whether it's like medical, travel related, whatever it is. So it's like, it's so smart that you guys switched from having them do an AI quiz to then changing the strategy to, okay, let me just teach you how this is going to benefit your business.
Exactly.
Because really that is why they're there in the first place, So that was like,
So
kudos to you guys for thinking that.
thank you. On that note, what would have been cool, or like what I think people should do in those 3 categories we were talking about, is if you are attending a conference, get business cards ready with a QR code of your quiz. If you are at a table, have a QR code on the banner. Like I said, I wish we had. It was cool to have them on the tablet. I think that was really necessary and really impactful. But if we had something that people could do from their phone, that would have been even better. And then for speakers, have a QR code at the end of your presentation for people to take your quiz, engage with you, so that way now they're all on your email list.
That would be a pretty cool site, like as a speaker, if your last slide is your QR code and everyone has their phones out and they're taking your quiz all at the same time. That'd be pretty cool.
And that happened. One of the speakers did end their presentation with exactly that, like take the quiz to find out. I forget exactly what it was on, but like to find out, next steps that would eventually lead them back to maybe her offering sales for her, right? But really the point, and this is why quizzes convert so well online as well, the point is to give people the information that they're looking for up front. We make it all about the conference attendee and not about us working with the conference attendee.
Exactly.
There was a gal, hold on. Was it Alicia? Okay. I think we have a partner. Her name is Leisha, and she used a quiz within her speaking events as well. But rather than waiting until the end of her session, what she did, and this was totally unrelated to travel, I think she does some sort of like psychological training that goes back into marketing type of thing. So in her session, she actually led with a quiz where people
Love
all
it.
scanned the QR code and then answered the question. So in real time, she looked up her Interact account analytics and then said, okay, 50% of the audience is answering, this.
Mhm.
So let me tailor this presentation to these things that everyone in the audience is telling me that they want to hear about, rather
Ooh,
than the few people who wanted to hear about something else. Okay, let me keep the interest of the general audience. And then we can always follow up on those things after, because you've collected their email in the quiz, because you know how they've answered the questions, the results that they've gotten, and all of that. So you don't
I
even
love
have to wait.
that.
You can make your whole presentation around
Based
your,
off.
yeah.
I love that so much.
I really love that too. Now I'm thinking of making like a trivia quiz as a speaker, and then like kind of like how in school, like they'd be like, oh, interesting. So 50% of you thought this was like what you should do, blah, blah, blah. And then introducing what you
Mhm.
think. And that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, and it's Alana Schlachta. I'm sorry, Alicia. I don't know who you are, Alicia. We have a case study with her. We also put some YouTube shorts on what she did, her explaining that onto our channel, so you can find
Oh, I
her there.
love that.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
I
a whole
love that.
episode we'll bring her in for.
You could also, like, if you had four results, you could be like, for those of you who got result one, and
Mhm.
then do like a little mini snippet of that for those of you who got result two, and then like tie it all back together about how it like actually matters. It's great.
Or even
I
like
love it.
conference takeaways. Like a lot of this, I think all of the speakers had some sort of takeaway that somebody could get. So a lot of them would end their presentation with scan the QR code to get these assets or resources or
Mhm.
whatever. But imagine sending them the right resource based on their quiz result, right? Based on things that you actually know that they would need, as opposed to just, here, everybody, here's this thing that I made.
Yeah, yeah. I want to tie that into because when you had mentioned that she looked up her analytics on site, like you're doing market research
Yeah.
in real
Mhm.
time. These people are there to listen to you, and they are like you're learning about your audience right then and there. And I
Mhm.
think that's amazing. And if people find you later, they could back again to like conversation starting. They could be like, "Hey, I got this result. Like, what do you think I could do with my business here, here, and here?" And you already know what to say. And this is just kind of building rapport with people that you meet at conferences, which I think we did really well. Is like now it's like, oh, I know exactly what kind of a quiz you should make. Let me ask a little bit more about your business. And even if you don't sign up right now, or like even if you don't buy right now, when you are at that stage, hopefully we're the ones you're thinking about.
And there were also a good chunk of people who completed the quiz and then also did have the time to submit that AI form. And so we did see a few people that we actually spoke with come through the AI form, but their quizzes were so much better because they took our quiz, which type of quiz they
Mm-hmm.
should make, and they're like, okay, it's a destination quiz. Where should you go in Greece? But because we had the conversation on site of like, I don't know, 3 different locations in Greece that you would send to people to and why, their quizzes actually contain that. So could point back to blogs that they had already posted that included that information, or other types of content, or ways to book, or whatever it is that they were trying to get these people to want to do. So the quizzes that we made from the people who took our quiz first actually came out, I think, 10 times better because they were so on point to these people's businesses.
Yeah, and they knew how to fill out the form.
Exactly.
Yeah, they knew how to fill out our
Gosh,
form when they actually signed up.
yeah, there was so much less thinking, right? They were just like, oh, I understand how this works now. This is what I want to say. This is what I want to do. Rather than me and Jess literally being like, well, like asking every little thing to try to what it was that they needed to do. Just take the quiz. It was so much easier.
So I want to also call out, I know I keep saying that in this episode and I never say it. So now that I'm saying it, I keep hearing it. But I want to call out the idea of when you're at a conference, you like to give free stuff. So in particular, it's usually like some sort of swag, like t-shirts. I think we did t-shirts, mugs, journals, stickers, which I think were all great. Um, but your quiz at an event like this could act as a freebie because you're literally giving free information. And the value that they get from that is so much more than giving like a physical swag. Although I do love my free swag. I think that's just an added bonus. But if you're like, I'm I'm already sort of thinking about my budget. I don't have room to order, I don't know, let's say like 100 t-shirts that cost thousands of dollars for people to maybe come back to me or not. Like now you have an actual like free information that you could give to people, but in return, they're now on your email list and you can reach out to them later.
I also just thought of if you have a quiz as a sponsor at an event like this and you have a fun personality quiz, you could have like a piece of swag that correlates with each type of result. Like, oh, congrats, you're this and this. Here's like you win this one. You have them lined up, like take the quiz, find out which one you are, and get the swag that goes with it.
I love that, like a t-shirt of your result on it.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yin just posted a podcast episode. She has the quiz, "What's your CEO style?" And so she was just recently at a live event. Forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, Ellen, but I think she was using the quiz as like a starting point. So they were doing live podcast broadcasts, but like little clips of it so that people that came up and chatted with her could walk away with actual assets that they could then promote on their channels. But to sort of like kick off the conversation, it was start with the quiz. So we know what your CEO style is, and then we could talk about that a little bit more. She used the quiz and went to 2 different conferences like within relatively the same amount of time. So tying this back to what you were saying, Jessy, she had stickers at her booth, but different stickers. And the different stickers went like one, I think it was CEO status was one sticker that went at the event she had in Dallas, whereas the something about like sort of wooey, inspirational, spiritual mindfulness sticker, I forget what it said, went at the conference in Oregon. But she also noticed that the quiz results people were getting at either of those conferences were also entirely different. So is it swag based on the persona that they are? That's like exactly what she found out. And I think she said that requires a little bit more testing on her part, but what a neat connection to make of, okay, I'm going to this conference where a bunch of CEOs are going to be. Let me lead with this type of design or this type of style or this certain swag because it's really going to fly off the shelf.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, even if you give out like swag, like you guys are giving out t-shirts or stickers, like sometimes people process everything that happened in the conference later, like a week or 2 later, and they're like, oh, who's Interact? And it'll just like prompt their mind, like, oh, I remember them. Like, oh, I had a conversation with Jackie. It's still beneficial.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was a finding that we had as well. So we went in with all this swag, and our idea was to gatekeep the swag. You can't have the swag until you sign up, right? And after day 1, we walked in on day 2, which was the last day of the live event, and we were like, I was like, Jess, we can't take all this stuff home with us. How are we going to get rid of this swag? Like, we need to get it out. And so there was a coffee break station, which happened to be right next to our booth, which was perfect. But we put all of the leftover coffee mugs that we had, we stocked them up. Jess has a beautiful picture of the way that we made it all look. It looked really cute. It did. But we put all of our coffee mugs right next to the coffee bar station because A, we're saving on paper cups. Amazing. But B, people actually started using them like right then and there at the conference. So there was Interact mugs everywhere, all over the place, which we were like, look at this. This is so cool. But exactly, Damaris. Like now those people are going to take those home. They're really awesome mugs. I use mine all the time. And they're going to remember us so that when it is time to implement a quiz into your business, there's no doubt Interact is going to be the software of choice.
Love that.
Or at least you jump, right?
What would you guys say for those who are listening, maybe like top 3 takeaways if they are either attending a conference, sponsoring, or speaking at a conference?
Use the quiz.
Okay, yeah, obviously that's number 1.
Number 1/2, make it about the attendees, not about yourself if you're sponsoring one.
Yeah, your quiz. Make your quiz about the attendees.
Yeah, definitely back to what you guys were saying. I think the thing that came up to mind for me was like educating your audience, like just trying to teach them or have them learn how this will benefit them in the long run in their business and how it ties into their business, sort of like tying all of that in without selling anything or sounding salesy,
I guess I would say market research, like the actual conversations that you're having with these people in real life. What are they asking? Does your quiz address that? Does your content address that? What can you use to put back into your business, like in terms of voice of customer? And also just watching, if you are leading with a quiz, watching people take your quiz. Where are they getting caught up? What questions do they have while they're answering? Why? How long is it taking them to complete it? Do they like what's on their result page? What question do they ask you right after they finish taking your quiz? Gave us so many insights into, wow, people spend so much time and thought on making sure they're answering these quiz questions appropriately to get the best result. So give them all of that value. You're going to win them over.
Right.
This
Love it.
further proves our point that if you think 5 questions is way too short for a quiz, watch someone take it in person.
Yeah.
I was like, can we cut this to 3? Like, go faster. But yeah, totally.
Yeah, because now this is going a little off topic when we're trying to close out, but you want people to like get through your quiz as fast as possible. But it was super eye-opening for us to like, wow, 5 questions is enough. It's enough for like, you to like give value and your quiz taker get value, and get them to the right result. So last call out, there I go again. I said it again. Last call out. If you guys are interested in taking our travel quiz, we will link that there. We plan on hopefully creating more industry specific quizzes. So write in, let us know what your industry is. If you want a quiz specifically for that, we'll help you figure out what to make. If you're ready to create a quiz, head over to ai.tryinteract.com. Fill out our form to get a quiz made for you using Interact AI. Thanks, everybody.
Hey,
See you
everyone.
next time.